One of the real goals that we wanted to do in Unreal Tournament 3 with regards to vehicles was introduce a bunch of new vehicles without screwing ourselves from a balancing point of view. Unreal Tournament 2004 had 9 vehicles all told, and they were all pretty balanced, and so we wanted to bring those over into Unreal Tournament 3 with tweaks and improvements, but at the same time we wanted to come up with all these brand new vehicles. And the goal with them was to make a sort of like a separate but equal. So that's the way we approach the vehicles, or what are the traits that we think would facilitate balancing, but at the same time we could approach from different angles. And so if you think of a tank, it's got a very deadly primary fire, but a slow rate of fire. It's got a turret that traverses, so it deals with threats in any direction. It's heavily armored, it's slow. It's got a secondary turret that you can use for aircraft or fast movers that are exceeding the traversal rate of the turret. Those were the elements that make up a tank to us. And so on the Necrus side, what we came up with is the Darkwalker. And the Darkwalker is unambiguously the main battle tank of the Necrus. But the first thing you'll notice is it's not treaded. And so the treads on the Goliath, the Axon tank, really restrict where it can get. The Darkwalker is a tripod, and so it can actually climb up onto things and pull itself up in ways that we didn't initially expect. It also could crouch all of a sudden, and so you could do real-world tank tactics like hull down, where only your turret is showing to the enemy and the rest of your tank is hidden by the environment. You can do that with the Darkwalker and actually have a crouch, pop up, fire, and then crouch back down. And so we were able to get all these tank-like elements into something that really didn't look like a normal tank, even though it fulfilled that same role. And it certainly allowed us to balance the game. Something that really surprised us, though, was in addition to the way it could traverse certain terrain, was that players just enjoyed going through legs of walkers. And so all of a sudden with the hoverboards, people would be like pulling tricks through this dangerous vehicle's legs and out the other side. Well, that just made the vehicle seem wimpy, which is the last thing we want this thing to communicate to the fans. And so what we decided to do was add this concussion effect that shoots out underneath it, ragdolling anyone. So if you're paying attention and someone goes between your legs, you can hit that, back up as they're trying to get up from being ragdolled, and cook them out. And so that was a neat gameplay mechanic that we certainly didn't design. We just sort of saw the behavior and said, what should we do to address that? And then because of that, we came up with a new feature, a new weapon that actually is integral to the vehicle as the primary fire.
The Darkwalker early on was this silly looking, just a placeholder, a ball with some tentacles hanging out from him. And I started playing around with it, and then I showed other people, and everybody got really excited about it. And we started putting it in play tests, and we went through all kinds of different firing modes for it and everything until we found, oh, this, the one that was perfect. And the day we put it in with the big beam of fire that just, vaporizes people, was we realized that was it.
In this version of UT3, we wanted to give the player a better visual indicator of how the vehicles would be damaged in the process of the game. So we've implemented a damage system, so that as the vehicle's taking hits and damage, it's starting to crumple, it's starting to look charred and burnt. Small fires start to appear in specific places, you start to get sparks coming from the wheel, and then once it gets towards the end of its health, you have pieces coming off, and then you really know that this thing is about to blow up and you have to get out. And then ultimately, once the vehicle has reached the end of its health, the whole thing just blows up in a massive explosion. And it's totally awesome. Like, it feels really good to just have a vehicle just blow up in your face, and it drives you to go and smash up other vehicles.
So making those new vehicles and making them really fit into Unreal Tournament was one of the big things that we've added. And I think people will appreciate how much it extends the gameplay and how much it deepens the experience when they get their hands on it.
Play.
When audio production begins for a game such as this, and trying to build a map from silence up to complete sound, a lot of work and a lot of time is spent. One of the aspects of audio that I like are the ambient sound passes that were made in the maps. In UT3, we actually did a full uncompromised sound pass on every map, and so when you're in the maps themselves, they all have a unique sound to them.
In keeping with the idea that we were trying to extend Unreal Tournament in all directions and really polish every aspect of it, one of the things that we also focused on was a dynamic music system, and which is certainly more of a challenge in a multiplayer game where you really have no idea what's going to happen next.
And so for each of the music tracks, what we did was we had each of the composers record a full mix of the track from start to end as if it was being recorded for an album. But for the in-game music, we had the composers go back and break the music track into 6 different emotional-based segments. And so this was an attempt to have the music have more relevance to the gameplay within the game and actually provide an emotional context for the user as they're playing the game. Okay, cool. So we're working on the UT3 cinematics at the moment, final stages of development, and working on the Necrus Attack cinematic, which occurs about halfway through the game with music mix only. Once we get the dialogue and all the sound design and Foley in here, it's going to be a pretty busy, exciting mix.
Unreal Tournament 3 was a real passion product for the team here at Epic Games. Normally you have to make a lot of compromises to get your game done, but we were really able to deliver on the goals that we set out at the onset of the product. Everything that we set out to do, we more or less accomplished, and we love the final product.
This is the best that we've done so far in terms of the Unreal franchise.
Unreal Tournament 3 is a game that we really poured our hearts into, and we've been passionate about making it and about making the best possible game. And we really hope that the fans who buy this game, enjoy it and appreciate it and love it as much as we've loved making it.